Alright, radio check, radio check. You guys should be able to hear me. Thank you everyone for tuning in and welcome along to Formula One in 2025. We are finally here, 80 days since the last race in Abu Dhabi, and we are here in Australia, in Melbourne, in the very sunny Melbourne, for FP1. Currently up on the screen we have got the timings from last year. They will be updated to the timings for this year very, very soon, but these are the last year's FP1 timings, so just keep that in mind. And yeah, we will be underway for free practice 1 in 30 minutes time. There's lots to talk about. There has been so much happening in the off season. We have got 8 teams out of the 10 with different drivers in their lineups. We've got 6 rookies, some may even say 7 rookies if you count Fernando Alonso, on the grid this year. There is going to be so much action, and just to top it all off, we have got rain forecast for Sunday. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up to date with what's going on in the world of Formula One, but there is rain forecast for Sunday, and this is about to be one of the most exciting weekends all time. Yeah, I have a feeling, well, maybe not of all time, but this season for sure. This season is going to be right up there with some of the greats like 2021 and 2012. Right, so currently just on the bottom right hand side of the screen, you can see there's a little F1 TV advert playing. I have been sponsored by F1 TV Pro, so that's why that advert's going to play, I think, around about once every 10 minutes or so. But apart from that, we're going to have the standard stuff. We're going to have the team radios coming through on the right hand side. We're going to have the normal lap times and the sector times on the left hand side, and then of course in the top right we'll have the track map as well. So that is what the season's gonna, well, that's what the data's gonna be like. Same as last year, pretty much. We are also, as a new addition for this year, going to have a fastest lap count, where every time another driver sets a fastest lap, we're just gonna add one onto the count to keep track of who's pushing, who's not, who's been going to the top of the times, and we'll wait and see what what we can learn from all of that information. All right. So let's get underway, shall we? We are gonna have the McLarens. They're gonna be. It looks like McLarens are going to be the fastest team. That's what all of the rumours have been pointing towards. Their pre-season testing data looks absolutely fantastic. However, I would like to throw some caution into the wind. Pre-season testing was in Bahrain. It was in a very oddly cold Bahrain, really. You'd expect Bahrain in the middle of a desert to be quite hot, to be quite warm, but the temperatures were much lower than expected, and the track surface from Bahrain to Australia is hugely, hugely different. Of course, Australia is a street circuit. Bahrain is a proper built race circuit. There's going to be quite a few differences in the tarmac choice and stuff like that, which I'll get into later, but it's not going to be as clear-cut as McLaren seem to have the upper hand in testing, so that means they're going to have the upper hand in Australia with different temperatures, different grip levels, different demands from the circuit. Everything is still up in the air, and we have no idea. Is it going to be the Ferraris at the top of the pack? Is it going to be Red Bull? Is it going to be McLaren? We have absolutely no clue. Every single driver, every single team has come out and said, oh no, we're not going to be the fastest. It's going to be a very tough season for us, and we're not sure if we're going to be the quickest car coming to Australia. But which team is really going to come out and say, oh yeah, we've got the fastest car, don't worry about it, we'll get pole position, we'll win the race, no questions asked? Nobody's going to say that. And if you believe all the headlines, then none of the top 4 teams are going to be winning the Australian Grand Prix. It's going to be Williams, so well, let's we'll wait and see what happens. This is last year's free practice 1 timings, and of course last year we knew that the Red Bull was very much the quickest car at the start of the season. Still, Lando Norris was top of the times, not by a very huge margin, but nonetheless, Norris was top of the times, Verstappen was second, Russell was third, and Leclerc was fourth. So a very mixed up grid at the end of FP1 last year. I suspect we'll be seeing something very similar to that this year as well. Yeah, the weather on Sunday is going to be, it's going to be fantastic. 95% chance of rain, and if it does rain, it is going to be 11 millimetres, 12 millimetres worth of rain. It is going to be, intermediate tyres for sure, maybe even wet, depending on how quickly the rain falls and how long it takes and how quickly it gets drained away. Yeah, all right. So that is... That's a little bit of a preview of what's to come. Hello, OG Ninja. Nice to see you here. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. By the way, we've got 350 people tuned in. If you haven't hit the like button, folks, be sure to hit the like button. It hugely helps out the channel, especially at the start of the season. Some of you may have come along to the testing streams, but if you didn't, I did some data analysis of the off season and looked at like all of the the key metrics, number of likes, number of subscribers, and stuff like that. And the most important thing was the number of likes the stream had before, before like the halfway point of the stream. So essentially, yeah, if you hit the like button in the first half of the stream, that really helps out the channel and really boosts us. Last year we went from 58,000 subscribers to 120,000 subscribers, nearly doubled. If we could double this year, that would be mind-blowing. So yeah, that would very much be appreciated. All right, let's have a read of this chat. Rain makes all the cars equal, but not the drivers. That is for certain. In fact, folks, I have also set up an F1 fantasy league. I don't know if you guys play much F1 fantasy. Have you got a team set up or anything? But there is a league called F1 Gamer underscore. No, it's just F1 Gamer YT. With the F1 and the YT in capital. So if you guys are interested in that, then go ahead and join the league, and we can compete against each other. I'll put it on my Instagram as well, and yeah, this is going to be very, very exciting. Oh yeah, the time zones for certain. I can tell you this: it is currently 1 a.m. here in the UK, and the FP2 session is going to be at 5 a.m. So I'm going to have a very fun all-nighter. I've had my coffee already. And this is going to be very, very fun. Going to enjoy this one, and we're going to have the same all-nighter tomorrow, so I'm going to have to get some sleep in between. And yeah, can't wait for the season to begin. All right. Why is Checo in there? These are the last year's timings, folks. I will get. Let's see if, in fact, this year's timings have come through. I suspect they haven't, but there's no harm checking. Yeah, there we go. They still haven't come up. Sooner or later, we will have the timings for this year with all of the drivers, all of the new drivers, and all of the respective teams updated as well. The team colours being updated. Everything will be up to date, and we'll have the latest information very, very soon. All right. So, welcome back, folks. Let me know what you've got up to in the off-season. What did you get up to in your spare time when there wasn't a Formula 1 race on in the weekends? I can certainly tell you I was getting very, very bored, but I'm happy to be back. Had a nice bit of a relax as well, and good. It's very, very exciting that Formula 1's back, to be honest. Yeah. Watching TV and bored too, fair enough. Can't wait for the rookie Fernando Alonso. He seems like a great talent. Indeed, he does. It does seem like Fernando Alonso is going to put up a tough fight against Lance Stroll. So we'll wait and see how that plays out. Yeah. Okay. The forecast issued on Tuesday, mostly clear. A chance of a thunderstorm in the northeast suburb early this evening. Winds 20 to 30 km per hour. That is going to be, if there's a thunderstorm, I'll be absolutely over the moon. I'll be jumping with joy. But we'll wait and see what the forecast says a little bit more closer to the time. We'll see what it says tomorrow. Okay. Good to be back, Team LH. Let's go. Yeah, we'll see how Lewis Hamilton does. In fact, what I was saying earlier during the preseason, I was expecting Hamilton to take a little while to sort of get adapted into the Ferrari team. But if we look at Lewis Hamilton's moves back in his career, he jumped straight into that McLaren in 2007 and went neck and neck with Fernando Alonso right from race 1, race number 2. He was right there competing with Alonso at the top, at the top of Alonso's level, really. And the same when he moved to Mercedes, it did not take him long to get adapted into the car and get totally switched on and right up to speed. So I suspect it's not going to be long before we see some competing battles between Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. You do have to take into account, of course, last year George Russell did out-qualify Lewis Hamilton in the qualifying head-to-head. On average, George Russell was quicker than Hamilton in quali. So of course, we know George Russell was a fantastic qualifier. In fact, in his rookie season, he was known as Mr. Saturday because he would not disappoint ever in a qualifying session. So Hamilton had some stiff competition at Mercedes. It ended up losing to George Russell, and he's going to have some stiff competition in the form of Charles Leclerc at Ferrari, and we'll see what he can do. And will he win the qualifying head-to-head this year, or will he once again be be on the back foot a little bit on the Saturdays, and then bring out his experience to pick up the pace on the Sunday? We'll wait and see what happens. Alright, we are 18 minutes away from the start of the Free Practice 1 session, folks. Let me know what your predictions are for the weekend for this Free Practice 1 session. Are we going to see many red flags? We saw, I think, 3 red flags in F2. 2 or 3 red flags in F2, I can tell you that for certain. There was 1 red flag in F3. Yeah, it is. It's a tricky circuit. There isn't that much runoff. It's quite a high speed as well. After they made the modifications to the track in 2022 and really got rid of the stop-start nature of the circuit and turned it into a long-flowing, high-speed circuit. It's made it a little bit more tricky to drive. Drivers are much more on the limit. It's going to be, we may see a couple of red flags. Yeah, all right. What else have we got going on here? Yeah, the data is from last year, folks. In fact, let's just double check. Have we got the new data? Nope. Oh, in fact, we've just flipped over to Bahrain, which is from preseason testing, so we do not want that. There we go, back to Australia. And but the data will be coming through very shortly. In fact, it should come through in about 2 minutes' time, but I'll wait till a couple more minutes. And yeah, I think Lando will win, but if we get the rain, it's going to be Max. Yeah, that is my prediction as well. I mean, everyone remembers what happened in Brazil. Max absolutely dominated the field, destroyed the competition, really. 17 fastest laps, started from 17th place, ended up in first place, but with a huge lead. Now, of course, Brazil is a very, he's had experience at Brazil. He did it in 2016, did fantastically there in the rain. Don't think anyone has driven in Australia in the rain before. I don't know even if it has rained before in an Australian Grand Prix in recent times. As far as I can remember, I've watched the races since 2018. There was no rain in 2018, 19, in 2022, 2023, 2024. So yeah, don't think it's rained in any of the recent years in Australia. So that'll be an unknown for everyone. And we'll wait and see what happens. Oh yeah, you guys have been getting adverts. Let me just block the adverts once again. Apologies for that. Just totally forgot to block the adverts. But there you go. No more adverts. The only thing that you'll get occasionally is the F1 TV thing pop up at the bottom right. Okay, 2010 Australian Grand Prix was a wet weather race. Okay, so if 2010 was a wet weather race, then who was still driving on the current grid in 2010? I can say for certain there was Fernando Alonso, there was Lewis Hamilton, and is that about it? I don't think there was Nico Hulkenberg driving in 2010? I don't think so. And apart from that, yeah, I think Hamilton has driven here in the rain. Alonso will have driven here in the rain. And apart from that, no one else. So, Yeah, they're gonna have a bit of an upper hand, but that was so long ago. I doubt they're even gonna remember anything. And the circuit will have changed as well. All of the curbs, the painted white line, those are the critical things. When it starts raining, you need to know: does this white line have grip? Does this curb have grip? And everything will have changed since 2010 anyway. So not going to be too much of use for the drivers. Yeah. Okay, so what else have we got going on then? 15 minutes now till we get underway. The drivers will be getting into their race suits, putting on their balaclavas and helmets and getting ready to go racing. This is the first time, of course, we're going to have all 20 cars out onto the track. In testing, of course, we only had 10 out at a time, but all 20 cars will be going out on track. They'll be doing their installation laps, checking that every component of the engine, the gearbox, the powertrain, the cooling system, the brakes, everything is assembled to perfect as perfectly as possible, and then they will be and then they'll be going back into the pits before they start their full run plans. Oh, there we go. I think that is the new data for this season. Yeah, the new data for this season is just coming up in a second here, folks. Let me just update the screen for you. And there we go. Fantastic. Right, let me get rid of last year's data. And brilliant. Here are the updated driver numbers, drivers for this season. We'll run through the driver changes if anyone is not up to date, but we have got, at the Red Bull team, we have got Max Verstappen and Liam Lawson. Liam Lawson, of course, drove alongside Yuki Tsunoda in the Racing Bulls team last year for a couple of races after Daniel Ricciardo left. He proved to do pretty well, managed to keep up with a decent pace of Yuki Tsunoda, who's still a little bit behind. But due to some politics, because within Honda and Red Bull and their relationship, Yuki Tsunoda was not the driver that was promoted to Red Bull. It was Liam Lawson instead. And then at McLaren is one of two teams that have kept the same driver lineup from last year. We've got Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, same drivers as last year. They've both continued on. In fact, Piastri has got his contract extended for this year. Signed a multi-year contract, and why not? McLaren are on the up. They won the constructors last year. It doesn't look like they're going to be slowing down anytime soon. New factory, new team boss. Everything's working out well. So why not stay with the team? Then, of course, at Mercedes, we have got Lewis Hamilton leaving, filling his spot at Mercedes is going to be Kimi Antonelli. We'll see how he does. Toto Wolff has a whole lot of faith in him, and we'll see if he can deliver and if he can get close to George Russell, who is now going to be lead driver at Mercedes. Yeah, we shall see how he can do. And will Mercedes be in the fight? Last year, their car was a little temperamental. Some weekends they were good, some weekends they weren't. They would be down. They would sometimes be competing for wins, sometimes for podium, sometimes not even making it through into Q3. So if they can make that car a little bit more consistent, then that could be a very big advantage for them. And then, of course, at Ferrari, we've got Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Probably the strongest driver pairing of up and down the entire grid. If you think back through the years, the strongest driver pairings on the grid, what has been a consistent theme throughout? You had Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost constantly fighting away. You had Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton constantly fighting away. You had Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg always fighting away. When you have two super duper strong drivers up against each other and they have the potential to be driving for a world championship, there are going to be sparks between the drivers, and I cannot wait to see how Ferrari deal with this, with Charles Leclerc being Ferrari's golden boy for so many years, and then Lewis Hamilton, the outsider, joining Ferrari, the 7-time world champion. Who are they going to prioritise? Who's going to come out on top? It is going to be fascinating to find out. Then, as we go down into the midfield, we have got the team that looks to be on everyone's headlines. They look to be doing the best as of now. We've got Williams. They've got two fantastic drivers. Carlos Sainz, of course, being dropping down the grid a little bit from Williams to Ferrari to Williams, sorry, and Alex Albon, of course. Alex Albon will now have a true benchmark. Someone that is known up and down the F1 paddock as a very quick, solid, reliable driver as Carlos Sainz. Albon's going to have to go up against him and prove to the rest of the grid and the rest of the world that he is capable of competing with the drivers at their very peak. He was with the Red Bull Driver Academy and then got promoted up to Red Bull probably a little bit too early, got beat by Max Verstappen. Nothing to be ashamed about. Max Verstappen, 4-time world champion now. But, yeah, the question remains is, will Alex Albon be able to keep up with Carlos Sainz, or will he remain as a B-tier midfield driver, or will he, be able to mount the challenge against him? Then, of course, we have Alpine. In fact, Albon said that Alpine were going to be a big threat to them this season, and they're also looking quite good and quite racy. And Alpine had a bit of an upward trajectory as well towards the final couple of races of 2024. They really made some solid progress. Considering where they started in 2024 as well, their car was overweight. They had basically no paint on the car because they just had to go bare carbon fiber everywhere as much as possible because there was just way too much weight that they had. They were down on horsepower as well. So Alpine have really turned things around. They've got Jack Doohan now, who is also Australian. This is going to be his first home race. And then, of course, we have got Pierre Gasly, a fantastic driver that's been with the team for many years now. And we'll see what he can do and how they compete against Williams in the drivers and constructor standings. All right. Yeah, look at that track temperature, folks. 40 degrees track temperature. The sun is really shining. It is the total opposite of what it was in Bahrain. Bahrain was much, much lower track temperatures. I think we got 26, 22 degrees track temperatures. Nothing up in the 40s. Nothing really up in the 30s as well in Bahrain. So McLaren, they looked very, very good in Bahrain. However, will that translate over with the higher temperatures, with the different track surface into Australia, or will it just be a one-off good circuit for McLaren? We will just have to wait and see. We've got 1,000 people tuned in. Thank you, Kiez, for tuning into the chat as well. Kiez is, in fact, on the circuit right now in the Schumacher Grandstand, which is fantastic. Yeah, track temp is going to be 48 degrees tomorrow. Oh my goodness me, 48 degrees, and we're going to go qualifying in that. Maybe the teams are going to fit the medium tyres because the soft tyres are really going to overheat. Last year, some of the drivers started the race on the soft tyres and did a maximum of 7 laps before calling it quits and coming into the pits. They were like, 7 laps, this is more than enough on a set of softs. They're going to wear out way too quickly. And with 48 degree track temperature, who knows what is going to happen. Yeah, and there is rain on race day. That is for certain. So, well, okay, I'm not going to say for certain. There's a 95% chance of rain on race day. So it's going to be, yeah, fantastic. All right. Okie dokes. Folks, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. Hugely helps out the channel. We are currently on 200 likes. Hopefully we can hit, well, let's see. We've got 7 minutes left. If we can hit 1,000 likes before halfway through the free practice 1 session, that would be fantastic. I mean, maybe if we could hit 2,000, that would be even brilliant. Even more brilliant. But let's wait and see what happens. If you guys do hit the like button or not. Okay. Good to be back with the new F1 season. Yeah, it's good to be back indeed. Right, let's talk about the rest of the drivers on the grid as well. We've of course got Aston Martin. Adrian Newey has joined the Aston Martin team. He has begun cooking. In fact, Adrian Newey's wife has posted on Instagram. So there was Aston Martin did like an announcement post like welcoming Adrian Newey into the team, like, oh, he started working now. And then Adrian Newey's wife, in fact, on Instagram tagged that post on her story and said, see you in 5 years, Adrian, basically just implying that Adrian Newey is just going to be in the office all the time. And I think, in fact, Lawrence Stroll has arranged for Adrian Newey to sleep in the office. Like, he has the ability to do that if he wants to. which I think is wild, by the way. But if I'm sure he's getting paid many, many millions, and I think he can sleep in the office if he's getting paid many, many millions. And we'll see what happens to Aston Martin. But I have a feeling that the upgrades for this car are going to be fairly limited. They're going to be focusing so much on 2026. They're throwing absolutely everything they've got at 2026, and it would be brilliant to see them up at the top of the pack. That's I can say for certain. Yeah. All right, who else have we got to talk about? We've got the Haas duo. We've got two new drivers at Haas, Esteban Ocon and Oliver Behrman. Both new drivers, haven't driven for the Haas team before. Behrman, of course, this is his debut season in Formula One, and he drove a couple of times for the Haas team last year, stepping in for Kevin Magnussen when he got a race ban, and I think he did a fantastic job when he stepped in for him, and I suspect Behrman will be doing a fantastic job this year as well. Maybe even giving Esteban Ocon a run for his money. We'll just have to wait and see. But here we are, folks, 4 minutes away from the start of free practice here in sunny Melbourne, Australia. The Albert Park circuit is waiting for us. We have got 14 corners, 4 DRS zones on this circuit, and a whole lot of action waiting for us very, very soon. Okay, Adrian is getting paid 24 million. That's more than 16 out of 20 drivers. That is amazing. Wow. Adrian Newey said Red Bull have gone in the complete wrong technical direction and too far down to change it for this year. Okay, well, if Adrian Newey said that, maybe Red Bull are totally screwed. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. But of course, they do have that 1 point of difference. They have Max Verstappen, who is managed to deliver year upon year, time upon time. When they needed him the most, Max Verstappen delivered. So maybe they can send the car in the complete wrong technical direction, but it doesn't matter because Max Verstappen will be able to turn things around. We'll just have to wait and see. Deadly gravel trap at turn 12. Yeah, that gravel trap at turn 12 is it's a very difficult one. Even the tiniest amount of understeer that you get, and then you're off into the gravel trap, and then you get stuck, of course. So maybe we'll see some yellow flags. Of course, the rookies, I don't think they're going to be pushing, especially in FP1 session. They'll be told by their by the team principals, by their race engineers, slowly build up into this. There's no need to go right and go, get pole position right out the gate. You just need to slowly build up your pace, and then, by the time we get to Q1, Q2, Q3, that's when you can really pick everything up. But here we are now, 3 minutes away from the start of FP1. The track elevation change here in Albert Park is not very high, only 2.5 meters elevation between the lowest and the highest point on the circuit. There is a fair amount of camber on quite a few of these corners, but the main factor here at this circuit is going to be all of the very, very small runoff, and the fact that the barriers are so close. It's going to be very exciting. All right. Here we go then. F1 Gamer, who do you think is going to win the driver and the Constructors Championship this year? Honestly, if I knew, I would have placed a bet, but I'm just gonna hazard a guess out there, and I'm gonna say one of the McLaren drivers are gonna win. Ooh, actually, I have no idea. I think, it would be amazing to see one of the McLaren drivers win the drivers and then a different team to win the constructors. That would be something really exciting. That if that happens, then for a fact the season is going to be super duper tight. Yeah. So we'll just have to wait and see. But it looks like the drivers are getting ready now to leave the pit lane as soon as possible. There's a minute 30 left on the clock, but soon enough we're going to see some drivers driving down to the end of the pit lane to do their first installation laps. All right. Here we go then, folks. Here we go. We have been waiting nearly 100 days. Okay, maybe not 100 days. We've been waiting about 80 days for this day to come, and finally here we are. We are 57 seconds away. Lewis Hamilton is in his car, and the mechanic's slowly just lowering his car onto the ground, taking those tire blankets off. Lewis Hamilton following the new start procedure for the Ferrari car. Of course, he's switched from the Mercedes power unit to the Ferrari power unit. There's going to be different startup procedures, different things that he's got to learn and memorize to make sure, he deals with all the procedures correctly, doesn't accidentally leave the engine running, and. But here we go. Lewis Hamilton should be coming out of the pit lane very, very soon. Jack Doohan is also in his car. Oscar Piastri's just given his mechanics a thumbs up. And the first driver out on track for the 2025 season is Mr. Nico Hulkenberg. And he makes his way out onto the circuit with that bright green Sauber, and then we have Isaac Hadjar following him behind very, very soon. All right, let me get rid of this countdown timer here. Oh, the data's just frozen. It should be back in a second, and there we go. Fantastic. We have got Nico Hulkenberg out onto the track, Isaac Hadjar, Lando Norris, Bortoletto. Everyone is making their way out onto the track nice and early on a set of medium tyres to do their installation laps. Gasly, Doohan, all 20 cars will be coming out very, very soon. The teams want to find out if there are any issues, and they want to find out as soon as possible so they have as much time as possible to fix any issues. All right. Here we go then. Stroll makes his way out onto the circuit. Tsunoda's out as well. Verstappen's out. Fantastic. Here we go. Oh, we've got the mini sectors up. Yeah, why not? We can keep the mini sectors up for a bit. I think after a bit I will change them. But for now the mini sectors work, so let's stick with that. And folks, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. It hugely helps out the channel. We've currently got 2,000 people watching the stream. That is incredible considering it's right now 1:30 a.m. in the UK and very, very late in the rest of Europe as well. Oh, we're getting team radio messages coming through as well. Soon enough, folks, you'll get the team radio messages pop through on the right. I can see one, but they'll come onto the main screen in just a second. There we go. Esteban Ocon, copy, radio check. That's good. Currently 9 cars on the track. So we'll be getting the team radios coming through as well on the screen very, very shortly. Brilliant. Here we are. We are so back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are for Formula 1 in 2025. Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc out onto track. The only drivers we are yet to see are Fernando Alonso, Alex Albon, Esteban Ocon, and Carlos Sainz. Brilliant. Here we go. Fantastic, fantastic. The wind on the circuit, quite not very intense whatsoever, 4 kilometers per hour in the westerly direction. So the drivers are going to have a bit of a tailwind going through turn number 9 and 10, headwind going through turn number 1 and 2 and 3, which would be nice and helpful because we've seen a couple of drivers go wide and lock up there in F2 and in F3. Yeah, it should be good for the drivers. All right. Alonso makes his way out onto the circuit as well. So now we're just waiting for Albon, Ocon, and Sainz. Brilliant. All right. Everyone's on their outlaps. Yeah, indeed, everyone is on their outlaps. Okie dokes, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. We've got Carlos Sainz leaving the pit lane as well. Just leaving now the final 2 drivers of Albon and Ocon to make their way out onto the track. Everyone else has done at least 1 lap, and it looks like they're immediately going out to continue on with their lapped runs. Gasly comes across the line, a 121.0 from him. I do have to point out, folks, track evolution is going to be enormous on this circuit. Given that it is a street circuit, there has been, the Formula 2 and the Formula 3 has been running here for a couple hours before the Formula 1 has begun. But there is going to be huge amounts of track evolution over the course of this weekend. Even over the course of this session, we're going to see the circuit get probably half a second or so faster from all of the dust and dirt getting kicked away from all of the Formula One cars, and yeah, we'll keep that in mind when we're looking at the timings. But Max Verstappen already dipped down into the 119, starts the season off strong, already 7/10 ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Leclerc goes half a second quicker than his teammate. Not too much to worry about as of now. We are only 5 minutes into free practice 1. All right. Yeah, here we go, folks. 5 minutes in and Stroll hasn't binned it, honestly, yeah. I mean, I'm waiting for the day Lance Stroll needs to turn into Lance Run, to be honest, because Stroll's just a little bit too slow for Formula One, to be fair. Yeah. All right, and Isaac Hadjar nicely up into 7th position there, just a little bit back from his teammate. All of the drivers will probably be on similar starting plans. There's not too much to worry about there as of now. We'll see the split run plans as we get into FP2 and FP3. And in fact, we've got some flow viz on the cars already. Liam Lawson exploring the limits of the track, going a little bit over the curbs and kicking up a lot of dust. And yeah, all the drivers using DRS as well. Okay. Also, folks, I have been sponsored by F1 TV this year. So, you know, if you do want to watch Formula One with all of the coverage, all of the footage, all of the commentary, and, you know, you want to pay money for that, of course, then Formula One TV is the best place to go. You get all of the footage, all of the onboards, all of the team radios, all of the telemetry, and all of the historic races. So if you guys are interested in that, there's a link in the description. There's a pinned link in the chat as well for F1 TV Pro. And, you know, if you get the full year now, you get a big discount compared to just paying monthly. So I'd go ahead and recommend that. But that's enough from me about Formula One TV. And let's get back to the action. The cars look super duper quick going through turn number 9 and turn number 10. Yeah, brilliant to see the direction change. It is yeah, even the Williams, Carlos Sainz, not pushing too hard, but the direction change looks fantastic on that. Lando Norris, purple in the first sector, green in the second sector, purple across all of the final mini sectors as well. What's it going to be as Lando Norris now comes across the start-finish line? Just getting a little bit of a tow here from Liam Lawson. Across the line he goes. Lando Norris 1 second ahead of the competition. Nicely done. All right. Well, we'll wait and see. Lewis Hamilton, purple in the first sector. He's green in the middle sector. Let's see what he can do. Pierre Gasly goes half a second quicker than Max Verstappen. And as I said, track evolution ramping up ASAP. And the circuit is getting much quicker. Fantastic. Yeah, Gasly, you know, if we're looking into this, you know, we could basically decide the season of this. Lando Norris is a second quicker than Max Verstappen. That's it. The season's over. We've just got a replay here from Liam Lawson. I don't know if the nerves are getting to him a little bit, but he's just clipped the wall on the entry to turn number 9. We see the drivers. He's clipped the wall so close that, in fact, the camera has been damaged and dislodged. Yeah, I've just touched the wall on the entry to turn number 9, like just brushed it. That's what Lawson's just said over the radio. But getting dangerously close to the wall of turn number 9. We normally see drivers touch the wall there on Q3 runs, you know, when they're going right up to the limit. But Liam Lawson's just tapped it on the entry on FP1. So I don't know exactly what's going on there. But yeah, that camera's been damaged and dislodged and is now pointing towards the floor. So nice job there, Liam Lawson. But, you know, he's just completed his hot lap now and is in 10th place. About a second and a bit behind his teammate. Isaac Hadjar comes across the line again, goes a 10th behind Yuki Tsunoda. Good start from him. Alonso up into 4th place, purple in the first sector, looking good. And Leclerc's currently top of the times. He went ahead of both Piastri and Norris. And yeah, as I said, lap times are tumbling, and soon enough we're going to be hitting the lap record because the cars have got around about a second faster than they were last year. And well, there's nothing faster than Formula One cars, so the lap record around Albert Park is probably going to be broken sometime soon. All right, we've got 3,200 people tuned into live stream. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, be sure to do so. I'll be commentating all of the free practice sessions, all of the qualifying sessions, all of the races for every single race this season. So yeah, go ahead, hit the like button, subscribe. Very much would be appreciated. I've also done my best to block adverts, so hopefully you guys aren't getting any adverts from YouTube. There will be the occasional F1 TV advert that plays in the bottom right. But apart from that, hopefully no more adverts to get in the way of this Formula One action that we have so dearly been craving for the past couple of months. All right. Lap record is a 1:15.9 from Max Verstappen in 2024. Thank you very much for that information, Tom. And we are currently in the 1:18.3, so we're still 3 seconds off, really, and track evolution is still yet to properly kick in. Well, we've got a fair amount, but once we do a couple more practice sessions and we really get around to Q3, if the temperatures drop a little bit, we might see the lap record being broken. If track temperatures are 48 degrees tomorrow, as they are forecast to be, then I have a feeling that all of the drivers are going to be suffering from some overheating issues, and we're not going to be breaking any sort of lap record. Okay, here we go. Lando Norris up to the top. Carlos Sainz in third place as well. Lewis Hamilton purple in the first sector. Everyone is pushing. All of these drivers are so happy to be back in the car and happy to be racing around a circuit that isn't the Bahrain International Circuit. I'm sure they've all got a little bit fed up of racing at that circuit, given that they've done over 1,000 kilometers there just over the course of a 3-day test. Gasly across the line, third place for him, and let's see what Lance Stroll can do, currently in 13th place across the line, 10th place for him. Lewis Hamilton, here he comes. What's it going to be for him in 7th place up into 3rd? A nice job there from Lewis. And now we've got Esteban Ocon. Let's see what he can do relative to Behrman. He's a little bit further back, but goes ahead of his teammate now by 0.3 of a second. Fantastic job. Ocon and Behrman will be an interesting duo to watch. Neither of them have raced for Haas. Well, actually, neither of them have had a full season with Haas. And we'll see how that works out for them. Of course, Ocon does have a bit of a reputation for being a bad teammate up and down the Formula One paddock, so we'll see how that works out for Oliver Behrman, and if he has to deal with the troubles as everyone else had, or will he be able to, form a new bond with Ocon and hopefully not get into too much trouble. We'll just have to wait and see. Lawson goes up into 12th. He's still quite a ways back from Max Verstappen, but I'm sure he's just being a little bit cautious after going over the curb on the exit of turn number 3, I think, and then also clipping the wall on the entry to turn number 10. He's going to soon enough will start picking up the pace, but as of now there's no need to, so might as well take a bit of a relaxed time and get to grips with the car around this circuit. All right. Yeah. So, I'm not going to be updating the fastest lap counter, at least not as of now, because there have been so many laps updating. I would spend too much time actually updating the counter rather than actually doing some commentary. But once we get into FP3, when the teams are doing their quali sims, then that's when I'll start updating all of the fastest lap counts, and especially during the race, of course. So during the race, I'll definitely do it. But as of now, it's just a little bit too chaotic. The fastest lap has been updated about 10 times, and we've only been in the session for 15 minutes. So, yeah. All right. Thank you for the donation. Simping for thoughts. Everyone's back, baby. Welcome back. Thank you very much. Welcome back to all of you guys as well. It's been a bit of a long off season, but I'm very much glad to be back. In fact, all of the testing streams were very fun as well. 9.5 hours each day, but had a whole lot of fun. And thank you for the donation. And welcome back to potentially what's going to be one of the most exciting Formula One seasons we've had in a very long time. Okie dokes. So now we've had our first set of runs. Everyone's done around about 6, 7, 8, 9 laps on their tyres, and they've come back into the pits now. Yeah, come back into the pits. They'll be refueling, changing tyres, getting now into their proper run plans. The engineers will have looked through all of the data by now and found out that there's no issues with the car. So it's all good from them. I think maybe Nico Hulkenberg might have had an issue. I'm not 100% certain, but he currently hasn't set a lap yet. He's just come out of the pits on this lap, I think. So I think he'll now come across the line soon enough and set a lap time. But yeah. All right. Maybe it's just Hulkenberg getting started with his run plan nice and early, so he gets some clean air on the circuit. We got George Russell on a hot lap here in this Mercedes. 2 green sectors from him, a couple of purple mini sectors as well. Kimi Antonelli currently comes across the line to start a flying lap. George Russell just at the tail end of his. Carlos Sainz gets out of the way nicely as George Russell's barrels into turn number 12. Stays away from that gravel trap on the exit there. And rotates the car very nicely through turn number 13, hits the apex of 14, back onto the power, opens the DRS flap, and what's it going to be for George Russell? Currently in 11th position, up into 2nd. Great lap there from George, and looking good. The top 4 teams, as you can see, pretty close between them. Well, of course, if you look at the lap times now, they're 4/10 between each other, but all of them look pretty racy, pretty quick. Nothing to, no one's car is snapping about being totally unstable. So we've got a good fight on our hands here, folks. Good fight, especially when the rain falls on Sunday. 11 mil of rain is expected to fall on Sunday, maybe even some more. There have been some reports that it might even be a thunderstorm. So we'll just have to wait and see. But the rain, the great equaliser, and then it'll be left to the drivers to fight it out for who gets the race win, which will be very exciting indeed. Can do and prove himself. Well, he's got around about a full season to do that, maybe half a season if Alpine are feeling ruthless, because there were rumours that Franco Colapinto was going to be the driver replacing Jack Doohan, but it looks like those rumours have not come true. Jack Doohan will be driving for Alpine this year, and we'll wait and see how he performs against Pierre Gasly. Also, folks, big news. Cadillac, I'm sure most of you guys have seen this, but Cadillac is going to be joining the Formula 1 grid for next season. In 2026, we're going to have 11 teams on the grid. Audi is going to be switching out in place of... Sauber is going to be switching out in place of Audi. Cadillac is going to be joining the Formula 1 grid. We're going to have loads of car manufacturers on the circuits, and it's going to be very exciting indeed. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on Cadillac joining? Who do you think their drivers are going to be? Is it going to be... are they going to try sign Valtteri Bottas? Are they going to try sign Guan Yu Zhou? Are they going to try sign Colin Herta? Is it Colin Herta or is it Colton Herta? I'm not sure, but Herta is on the prospects of being a Formula 1 driver. I don't think he has enough super license points, but yeah, we'll wait and see. Is it going to be Logan Sargent? All-American team. I don't think Logan Sargent would be the best bet. But it's going to be 22 cars on the track. I can't imagine what Monaco is going to be like with 22 cars. Of course, in the past, we have raced at Monaco with 24 cars. I have not watched one of those races, but I imagine it's going to be very hectic, especially with all the traffic. Monaco is such a short circuit. 24 cars is going to lead to tremendous amounts of traffic on the track, or even 22. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens next year. But we've got a lot of exciting racing this year. In fact, 2025 is the 75th year of Formula 1 racing. Formula 1 started back in 1950, and here we are, 75 years on, still racing on, and the first season opener will be taking place in Australia. Of course, the first Formula 1 race did take place at Silverstone. It would have been nice, in fact, to start the season out in Silverstone, but here in the UK, it's miserable, it's raining, and why would you want to start the season out there when you could start out in sunny Melbourne? Oh, we've got a red flag. Who is this red flag for? There's a McLaren. Is it Lando Norris? Is it Oscar Piastri? Well, it looks like Piastri's out on the track. And he's still... Oh, no. Wait. Who stopped on the track? I have no idea who stopped out on the track. This is interesting. They've just called a red flag. Right, let me figure out why they've called a red flag. Let me know in the chat if you know why there is a red flag. But yeah, this seems a little bit confusing because it doesn't seem like anyone's crashed. Piastri was stopped for a bit, but I think that was Yuki lost power, was it? Okay, apparently Yuki had lost power. I shall double check that. But is there a lot of gravel at turn number 6 and 7? That seems to be the case, actually. Yeah, I think someone might have kicked up a bit of gravel. We'll just have to wait and see. Oh yeah, there's a lot of gravel on the track. That's what it is. Someone went wide at one of the corners, I think turn 6 and 7, and kicked up a whole lot of gravel, like a dangerous amount of gravel. Yeah, who was that actually? It was one of the Mercedes drivers. Oh no, that was George Russell last year that had that crash at turn number 6 and 7. I don't know who did it this year. Yeah, it was a bit misleading. They've just shown a replay. Sky Sports have just shown a replay here of George Russell crashing last year, and I thought as if for a second that George Russell had just done it again this year. But no, they haven't shown the replay of who's done it this year. But there's a lot of gravel on the track. The marshals will be out soon enough to push that back onto the gravel trap, and will be running very, very shortly. All right. Yeah, good way to start the session. Nice bit of disruption there. We had a fair amount of disruption in Formula 2 and Formula 3. And given it's a street circuit, this gravel getting kicked up onto the track is to be expected. It's one of the downsides of gravel traps, really. But what can you do? All right. Yeah. Let's have a look at the timings then. The grid fairly spread out. Well, to be fair, if you ignore the bottom 4 drivers of Ocon, Hulkenberg, Albon, and Bortoletto, yeah, it was Jack Doohan, folks. Jack Doohan went pretty wide at turn number 6 and brought a bunch of gravel onto the circuit. But yeah, if we ignore the bottom 4 drivers, the top 16 drivers are within 1.4 seconds of each other. That's less than a tenth between each driver. Ridiculously close. Of course, this is nothing. It's not qualifying yet, so let's not read into it too much. But yeah, Sainz's radio profile. Yeah, Sainz's radio profile still the Ferrari logo. Still the Ferrari one. The logos haven't been updated yet, so they'll get updated with a new when there's a new version of this software. But the Formula, the intro photos, the photos, not the intro photos, the intro video at the start of whenever the Formula 1, begins, the session begins, they have this intro that plays with the F1 theme song. That only got released like this morning or yesterday. So yeah, there just hasn't been time to update all of the photos in time for the session. But it'll be updated probably for the Chinese Grand Prix. I am expecting. All right. I'm just going to have a quick sip of water here, folks. But we should be getting away from this red flag in a matter of minutes in a minute or two now. Yeah, not too long before the marshals clear all of this up. The driver's still just sat in the garage. Not in the garage. They're still sat in the cars. They know that it's not going to be long now before they go back out onto the track. So, yeah. All right. Okie dokes. Yeah, so here we are then. 25 minutes into the free practice 1 session with a nice little red flag going on. Yeah, should be out of this red flag in no time whatsoever. Soon enough, we'll get marshals on the track. I think the marshals are probably already on the track, to be honest, just to clear up all of the gravel. And I suspect there won't be too many communication issues with the marshals either. I remember, last year we had some odd calls where the marshals had to communicate with the race directors, being like, oh, there's gravel on the circuit, or there's debris on the circuit, or whatever, and then a virtual safety car would get brought out after a matter of minutes, or way too long, like 50 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes before the virtual safety car actually got brought out. That was caused by quite a bit of translation issues. If the marshals were speaking in Portuguese or in Spanish or whatever, then it would take longer for the race director to understand what was going on the circuit, and then eventually put out the red flag or the yellow flag or whatever. But now, given that we're in Australia, the marshals are going to be speaking English. I suspect this race director will also be speaking English. And there we go, folks. Green flag is out. DRS has been enabled. Session will be resuming in 1 minute's time, and we'll have a green light at the end of the pit lane. In fact, the McLarens are already making their way out to the pit exit, and yeah, they'll be waiting to go out very, very soon. Brilliant. Here we go then, folks. Cannot wait to get started. Right, the RBs are making their way out as well. Everyone just lining up a nice little orderly queue at the end of the pit lane, and we'll be getting underway for some more practice soon enough now. All right. Dinner with friends is killing me to leave commentary at 7 p.m. Well, listen to the commentary while you're having dinner with your friends. Why not? No, I suspect you'll probably want to chat to your friends, but I do need a water sponsor, actually. Yeah, let's see. I mean, if any of you guys are working for water companies, then my email is gamerf1.yt5@gmail.com. A very unprofessional email, to be honest with you guys, but that is my email. I'm sure the YouTube will tell you if you go on the about page of my channel or whatever, but if any of you are working for companies that could sponsor me, then feel free to reach out. I suspect the chances are pretty slim of that, but might as well ask. There's no harm in asking, to be honest. Yeah, so here we are. We've got a couple more drivers back out onto the track, and another important thing the teams will be doing now in these free practice 1 sessions, they'll be getting the most up-to-date information on the clutch settings that the teams need, because of course Bahrain is a totally different track surface, totally different track temperatures, and I think maybe even different compounds of tyres as well that the teams are using in Bahrain. We're going to have just a different set of clutch settings for Australia, and so the teams will be doing their best to do their optimal launch starts and stuff like that. Lando Norris hopefully will be trying to get a good start, better than he did last year, of course, and we'll see if he can continue improving his race starts and hopefully not lose too many positions on lap number 1. That'll be very helpful to his championship battle if the McLaren is quick enough for a championship battle. Let's wait and see. Okay. Max Verstappen is on a set of soft tires. Very, very bold choice there from Max Verstappen. Track temperature is 42 degrees, 42.4 degrees. Those soft tyres are going to overheat sooner than you can say Red Bull, to be honest. And we'll wait and see what he can do with these tyres. Kimi Antonelli as well out on softs. So's George Russell. Isaac, thank you for the $10 donation. Love the streams, bro. Keep it up. Thank you very, very much. Isaac, that is really appreciated. Really appreciated. Yeah, thank you, and hope to see you around for the rest of the season as well, buddy. All right. Well, a lot of these drivers making some bold choices here out on a set of soft tires. They're gonna, I suspect what they're gonna do is figure out how long it takes for these soft tires to overheat, because it's going to be useful information to them. Even if they do overheat within 5 corners, it's still useful information that the teams can use for their strategy calls that they're going to make. Probably on Sunday's race, will they even bother risking it for the soft tyres? or will they want to just use the mediums all of the time? We've got some onboards here with Gabriel Bortoleto, of course, the Formula 2 champion from last year, driving with the Kick Sauber team now. And we've got a yellow flag. Who is that for? Bortoleto, just going a little slowly. I think everything seems to be fine. He was just driving a little slowly for no apparent reason. I think he just backed out of his lap. But anyway, Bortoleto doing pretty well there. The Sauber just not turning in as much as he would have liked. He's having to stab at the steering wheel a couple of times here and there to really get the car to sort of pinch and rotate. But yeah, he's managing to cope with it all right. And hopefully that car gets better as the season progresses. Okie dokes. Here we go then. Who do you think has the most improved livery? Well, I think that's fairly easy, isn't it? The V-Carb livery is the most improved. It's one of the best liveries of the season, folks. And last year they weren't all that special, so that's definitely the most improved, maybe even the best livery. Yeah, I mean, most of the other ones are the same. Like the Red Bull is always the same. McLaren's pretty similar. Same for Mercedes. Same for Ferrari. I mean, Ferrari have got their logos switched around a little bit and a little bit more red, a different shade of red, I think, as well. But yeah, I think on the whole, definitely one of the best liveries is the V-Carb livery. It looks like the 2021 Turkish Grand Prix. It was the 2021 Honda Special livery that they were meant to use at Japan but couldn't because they didn't race at Japan. They ended up using it at the Turkish Grand Prix, and well, it was a fantastic livery. And yeah, I think it would have been. I think it was fantastic then in 2021, and it's fantastic now on the V-Carb in 2025. Okay, George Russell up into second position there. Max Verstappen up in first. He goes 20 milliseconds ahead of George Russell. Nice and tight there for the drivers up at the top. Yeah, Max Verstappen came into this weekend saying, what was he saying? Oh yeah, we're not going to be the fastest car, and we have a lot of work to do, and we're not going to win this race. Yeah, I don't seem so sure about that, do you now, Max? You might be winning this one. Well, I don't know. It's still free practice. Maybe McLaren have got a lot of engine power left under their belt. We'll just have to wait and see. Lewis Hamilton, though, looking pretty quick in that Ferrari. The car snapping around a little bit. But, you know, Hamilton's feeling around for the limit of this car. It drives a little differently to the Mercedes. He will have done a fair amount of experimental stuff in Bahrain, but, you know, you get to a different circuit and you've still got to do a little bit more experimenting to get to fully know what the car's going to do in all scenarios. And once you know what the car's going to do and how it's going to react, that is when you can push it all the way to the limit, and not any further, you know, because if you push it any further past the limit, then you're going to spin out. And, of course, that's not particularly ideal, is it? Alright, Lawson comes out on a set of softs as well. Let's see what he can do. I suspect the fuel load's going to be pretty similar to Max Verstappen, and I don't know if he'll be given different instructions to Max Verstappen. I'm sure the Red Bull team have a lot of confidence in Max. They'll just tell him, do what you want, just don't crash the car. But Lawson might be given some different instructions. George Russell has just been told over the radio, it's very hot inside the car here. So George Russell, I mean, you know, fair enough. Track temperature is 42.2 degrees and drivers are sat millimeters above the ground, and air temperature is 24.2 degrees, so it's getting pretty warm there. This year the FIA have introduced new cooling vests for the drivers. If the temperature is over a certain number, I'm not sure if it's 35 degrees or 25 degrees, but for the race the teams are mandated to fit cooling systems to the cars, and the drivers are mandated to wear them. So you know, it makes sense that the FIA introduced that rule, with the drivers, you know, struggling with the heat in places like Qatar and Singapore, and now in Australia. It's good step forward for the comfort of the drivers, making sure that they're not pushed to the limit of, you know, fainting and collapsing. So we'll see if that gets utilised this season, not this season, this weekend, given that it might be quite sunny tomorrow. But I'm not sure if it's applicable for just sessions or if it's only applicable for the race. We'll just have to wait and see what the FIA's verdict is on that. Oh, Pierre Gasly has a bit of a snap there coming out of turn number 4. Sorry, not turn number 4, turn number 10. No, not 10, 11. Honestly, it's a bit of a long day. Currently, it's 2 a.m. here in the UK, so apologies for a couple of my mistakes in commentary. Hopefully it doesn't get too bad, but I've got 25 minutes left of the session. And yeah, folks, if you haven't got F1 TV and are interested in watching Formula 1 all season long, I would very much recommend it. You get all of the footage, all of the onboards, all of the team radios, everything live. And if you get the F1 TV premium package, you get everything in 4K as well. If you buy it for the full year, then you get the entire season, and it's cheaper than paying for the month. So, if you guys are interested, then go ahead, click the link in the description, click the link that's in the pinned chat comment, and go ahead and check that out. It helps out the channel as well. I'm sponsored by them, so I get a nice little kickback if you guys buy the F1 TV Pro or the premium. So, yeah. All right. I get F1 TV. Can't get F1 TV in my country. I've tried all the workarounds. Yeah, it's very long. If you can't get F1 TV in your country, the process, like all of the workarounds, like you can't just get a VPN. You have to have like a fake Apple ID set in a different country, and then you use a VPN to that country and then buy it through that. It's like a very long process. So if it's not available, then fair enough. It's not available here in the UK, and here I am stuck with Sky Sports. Alright, Gasly's going really slow. Well, yeah, he is actually, but he is on a set of soft tyres, so maybe he's just cooling his tyres down. I don't think it'll be any sort of issue. The cars do seem to have impeccable reliability. Even the Alpine, not the most powerful engine, but it does seem to be fairly reliable. Yeah, so I suspect he's just driving slowly to cool his tyres down. Zephyrus, thank you for the 10 Hong Kong dollars. Who do you think is going to be the fastest? Well, I'm going to place my bet on... who am I going to place my bet on? I'm going to say Max Verstappen. I'm going to stick with Max Verstappen for now. I think he might top this practice session. I don't know who's going to be quickest in quali, but for this practice session, I'm going to go with Max Verstappen. All right. Yeah. Oh, wow, we've got 5,000 people tuned into the live stream. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Hope you all are enjoying the coverage. It's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. Hopefully, I'll be commentating to you guys for the rest of the season. But, yeah, it's been... pretty good first half of FP1, and we'll have FP2 coming up in a couple of hours as well, and then of course FP3 and qualifying tomorrow as standard. Carlos Sainz, purple in the first sector here, green in the middle sector. Here he comes out of the final corner. What's it going to be for Carlos Sainz? Comes across the start-finish line, currently in 4th place. It is first position for Carlos Sainz. That's it, folks. Season's over. Williams' dominance is going to bore fans. Charles Leclerc comes across the line. Still not quicker than his former teammate, Carlos Sainz. Looks like he made the big brain move here. He moved to Williams when they were going to become the fastest team on the grid. He's a smooth operator with a smooth operation, and up into first place, 60 milliseconds ahead of... we've got a red flag. Who's that for? Behrman at turn number 10. Oh, a huge crash. The entire right side of Behrman's car is damaged, and we've got a red flag called out for Behrman. Alonso's going slowly just as he passes Behrman, checking everything's okay. Behrman's fine. He's getting out of the car soon enough, but a huge crash for Ollie Behrman as he exits turn number 10, and with 22 minutes left of the session, I suspect we're not going to be getting too much more running here. Yeah, not ideal here for Behrman. The rookie, he did very well when he was with Ferrari and Haas for, last season, just stepping in for Kevin Magnussen, stepping in for Carlos Sainz. But here he is on his debut weekend in Formula One, and he's done exactly what he's not meant to do, the exact opposite of what a rookie is meant to do. The rule number one of your first race in Formula One: do not crash the car in practice. And Oliver Behrman has done exactly that. They could be in for a long season. Is it going to be like Logan Sargent all over again for the Haas team? Of course, Haas didn't have Logan Sargent as a driver, but is it going to be constant repairs, constant crashes, or is this a one-off? I really do hope it is a one-off. But Behrman is now just looking around the car, looking to inspect the damage, see what has gone wrong. But it looks like front suspension, front right suspension, rear right suspension, and front wing is all damaged. The rear wing also looks minorly damaged as well. I don't know if the DRS opening mechanism will still work. But we've just got the replay here from Behrman. He turns into turn number 9, turns into turn number 10, goes wide, onto the gravel he goes, just carries way too much speed. And the car didn't turn as much as he would have liked, I'm guessing. Carried it all onto the gravel. And, once you've got all 4 wheels on the gravel, there is nothing that you can do apart from just pray and hope the car doesn't spin out. And, as much as you can pray and hope, the car's most likely is going to spin out, and you're going to have a nasty crash there. Yeah, very unfortunate. I mean, I don't know if it still looked like he had had his foot flat to the floor or not. But yeah, he's just come over the radio. And he said, "Yeah, I'm sorry." They've asked, "Is he okay?" And then Behrman said, "Yeah, I'm okay." And yeah, I'm sorry. And then they've come over the radio saying, "No, don't need to apologise. It's fine as long as you're all right. It doesn't matter." But of course, Behrman knows that it's not all right, and he knows that he shouldn't have crashed that car. Maybe, I don't know if he had his foot flat to the floor. I'll have to listen to the replay with the audio up. But not the best start for Ollie Behrman there. Yeah, I mean, see, this is the thing. He was, it was a little bit. It seems slightly inexperienced from, fair enough. He's a rookie, but the Haas mechanics have got his. Is that the Haas mechanics or is that his dad? I'm not sure, but they've got his head in their hands, and not starting out the season well, really, to be honest. But yeah, Behrman, once he got into the gravel, he started to correct the car a little bit, and Formula One cars are obviously not meant to be driven over gravel. So it may have even been a little bit optimal to lose the rear end of the car while driving on the gravel, but keeping the steering wheel straight. Keeping the steering wheel straight might have helped him out. But these are the things that you only learn after driving on the gravel, or maybe hearing from a more experienced driver. Fernando Alonso. See, Gabriel Bortoleto has been getting a lot of advice from Fernando Alonso. I don't know if you guys have been keeping track of how Bortoleto has been progressing and stuff, but. So, the drivers will print out telemetry, and then I've seen there have been shots where Bortoletto's printed out telemetry and then taken it to Fernando Alonso, and they've sat together analysing the telemetry, saying, and Alonso, will circle this bit and being like, oh, you need to slow down a little bit earlier here and rotate the car, hit the apex, whatever, or turn in early so the curb will hook you around. Like, there'll be certain tricks that Alonso will know, right? So, yeah, if he had another driver as a mentor, he may have been given some advice. Once you're driving over the gravel, do this certain thing. You're much less likely to spin out. But maybe he didn't have that on his side, and yeah, Behrman, just a bit of bad luck, really, I guess. Well, not bad luck. Once you're on the gravel, it's just all up to what. I guess that's up to luck, but him going into the gravel, that was definitely not luck. That definitely could have been avoided. Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right, folks, this is interesting. We have got the track dominance here between Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. Carlos Sainz is quicker he's quicker in the main straight. He's quicker between turns number 2 and 3 as well. So from the exit of the final corner, turn number 14, all the way to turn number 3, he's quicker. And then from turn number 7 all the way to turn number 9, Carlos Sainz is quicker. And in all of the other parts of the track, Charles Leclerc is quicker. So it looks to me Williams have got a nice little advantage there on the straight line speed that's helping them out and managing to keep him ahead of Charles Leclerc. And in fact, if we do look at the speed trap speeds here, I've just got them up on my screen, and it's 258 kilometers per hour through the speed trap for Carlos Sainz and 252 for Charles Leclerc. Oh wait, no, that wasn't even on a hot lap. Never mind. Let's just ignore that. But I suspect the Williams does have slightly better straight line speed, to be honest. They typically do. The Williams teams is pretty slippery in a straight line, and they tend to run lower downforce setups than Ferrari do. So that explains why Sainz is quicker down the back straights and the main straight, and the Ferrari's quicker elsewhere. Williams is back, yeah. In fact, also, folks, Carlos Sainz is, I think, one of the first drivers since Alain Prost, maybe, to have driven for McLaren and for Ferrari and for Williams in his career. There's not many drivers that can say that have driven for, the big three teams the big three historic teams in Formula One: McLaren, Ferrari, and Williams. I think, Carlos Sainz, I'm sure, will be happy and honoured about that one. Verstappen's over the radio complaining about Carlos Sainz, saying he was doing something dangerous. I think he was just in the wrong bit of the track and not exactly paying attention to the radio calls from his engineers, or maybe his engineers weren't telling him. But Carlos Sainz stuck his hand out to apologise as soon as he realised he was in the wrong there. So I think that should be fine. Alright, folks, if you have any other like button, please be sure to do so. It hugely helps out the channel. Hopefully we can get to 1,000 likes by the end of the live stream. That would very much be appreciated. We've got 4,800 people currently tuned in. 15 minutes left of free practice 1. This is our second red flag of the session. And they're making some tweaks. The rest of the teams are making some tweaks to the cars. We've just now got the marshals to clear up the debris from Behrman's crash, and then we should be good to go running once again. All right. Are these actual runtimes from today or from weeks ago? These are actual runtimes from today. In fact, they were done around about 5 minutes ago, just before Behrman crashed his Haas. It's a pretty major crash to the back of the car as well. So maybe there's going to be some gearbox damage as well. I'm not sure about that one, but maybe because he hasn't actually taken part in a race yet, he can replace the gearbox without any sort of going into his allowance. I'm not 100% certain on how the rules work with that. Sainz's glory runs for sponsors. Maybe it is glory runs for sponsors, or maybe Williams are just back. They might just be totally back. You can never count that out. We'll just have to wait and see. Maybe Williams are the ones that are sandbagging. Yeah, everyone else isn't sandbagging. Shelbertron, thank you for the donation. My first Formula 1 season, so excited. Well, if this is your first Formula 1 season, you have picked the correct season to start watching Formula 1. This season is about to be one of the closest seasons we've had in so many years. I think you've got to go back to 2012, maybe 2010 to get a season this close, in terms of how close the top 3-4 teams are. So yeah, fantastic choice to watch this first season. Who are you going to be supporting? Is it going to be Ferrari? Is it going to be McLaren? Is it going to be Red Bull? Or is it going to be Mercedes? 4 fantastic teams to choose from. 8 amazing drivers as well. It's going to be very, very fun. And I'd also like to say, you've picked the right channel to start watching Formula 1 on as well. That is, if I'm not blowing my own trumpet a little bit too much there. All right. Here we go then. Announced session restarts. Unfortunately, the session, nothing has been announced as of yet. In fact, it just has been announced. Session will be restarting in 1 minute's time, folks. 1 minute, and the session will be restarting. Track is clear. DRS has been re-enabled, and we'll be making the drivers will be making their way out now for the final 11 minutes of pre-season testing. For the final 11 minutes of free practice 1. Yeah. All right. Let me set our like target to 1,000 likes. Hopefully, we can make our way to 1,000 likes by the end of the stream. That would be fantastic. Getting pretty close here, folks. So yeah, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. I will also be commentating for free practice 2. I'm sure for many of you the time zones will be slightly odd, but if the time zones aren't odd for you, be sure to tune into that one. That will be taking place the stream will be starting in 2 hours and 10 minutes from now. The session itself will be starting in 2.5 hours from now. Yeah. So I wish you guys the best. If you have to stay up for that, then best of luck to you. I've had my coffee. Hopefully I stay awake, but let's wait and see. All right. Here we go then. Drivers making their way back out onto the track. We'll see what tyres they come out on as well. George Russell used mediums for him, and then Doohan, Norris, Piastri, everyone coming out soon enough. Their tyre information will be updated. Oh, Piastri's out on a fresh set of softs. Norris as well. The McLarens hadn't done any soft laps, so let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what will happen. F1 Gamer, I agree with your statement. Austrian Grand Prix 2024 was my first one, and now I'm hooked. You're the best commentator. Well, thank you very much. Let me know, folks. What is the first Formula 1 race that you watched? What's the first race that you watched with this stream, with this channel? It'd be very interesting to know, actually. Yeah. All right. FP2 is 5 a.m. UK time. Indeed, it is. 5 a.m. UK time is the start time of free practice 2. Okay, 9 minutes left of this session. Norris is starting his hot lap here. He's starting his hot lap, but he's in someone else's toe. I don't know whose toe he's right in, but I think the driver is about to get out the way. Is it Gasly that he's in Gasly's toe, or Gasly's in his toe? Oh no, it's one of the V-carbs. It's Yuki Tsunoda that is that he's racing against, so really screwing up Norris's lap here. Yuki Tsunoda is playing some nice games with him, and re-overtakes him going into turn number 3. Norris's hot lap is ruined there. It's sort of Norris's fault. He should have backed out a little bit and not started his run immediately behind another driver. But yeah. Oh, before the internet, Monaco 1981. Wow. With this channel when you had 80k subs, fair enough. Can't remember the year, but the early 90s. Wow. Adelaide was, of course, Melbourne wasn't a circuit back then. It was Adelaide. It would be fantastic to alternate between Melbourne and Adelaide, both of them brilliant circuits. I think that'd be fantastic. They could do the same in Germany, Nürburgring and Hockenheimring, alternate them each year. In Australia, alternate the Adelaide and Melbourne. Piastri comes across the line, 3rd place for him on a set of soft tyres. He goes 2/10 back from Carlos Sainz. Lando Norris now going to start his flying lap here. We've got Hamilton across the line, 6th place for him. Nicely done. All right, fantastic. That's on a used set of tyres there for Lewis Hamilton. And let's see what other tyres is everyone else on as well. Ooh, Albon up into 6th place. Look at that, half a second gap there between Sainz and Albon. I'm sure the drivers, they're taking their different approaches. Albon might like to build up to qualifying. Sainz might like to just go all-out attack from the start. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, looking promising signs here from Carlos Sainz, doing well. We got Nico Hülkenberg across the line, 16th place for him. Behrman is in the pits, of course, after having his crash. I don't know why Ocon's still in the pits, though. Norris on his flying lap. He's 3.5 tenths down on Carlos Sainz's time as he comes across the middle sector line. And now he's just going to go through the final corner with Charles Leclerc ahead of him. I think he'll get a nice little tow from him as well. But here he comes across the start-finish line he goes, and that is 3rd place there for Lando Norris. Has a huge improvement in the final sector. That might be partially down to a little bit of a tow from Charles Leclerc ahead of him. Actually, Leclerc was quite a bit ahead, so I suspect not. Norris just had a great final sector. Nice job. Goes ahead of his teammate by a tenth of a second. Ooh, 5,700 people tuned into live stream. That is fantastic, folks. If you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. It hugely helps out the channel. Lewis is complaining about the car. I mean, there's nothing new, folks. Nothing new. If he's not complaining about the car, he's going to be complaining about the tyres. But yeah, his pace is 6 tenths behind his teammate. So I suspect he'll be complaining about the car because either there is something wrong or he's just not quick enough. But most likely it's probably just something wrong with the car. Something not set up to his liking. Yeah, oh, fantastic. We've hit 1,000 likes. That's brilliant. Thank you, everyone, for hitting the like button, by the way. It is very much appreciated. And, right, let me just... I guess we can increase the like goal. Why not? You guys are going to keep smashing the like button. So, hopefully we can hit 1,500. Let's wait till Quali Bro Science is going to feel the heat soon. Yeah, we'll wait and see. I mean, all of these comparisons are all, of course, testing or practice predictions. We'll wait and see what the real deal is once qualifying comes around. That will be very exciting indeed. Some of you are asking here why everyone's taking free practice 1 so seriously, and I've got a little bit of an explanation for that. It's because we've had no Formula 1 action for 80 days, so this is the closest we've got, to qualifying. So everyone's going to be taking it as seriously as possible, even though it all doesn't really matter. As I proved at the start of the stream, the FP1 times for Australia last year, it was Lando Norris was the quickest. It doesn't really matter because Lando Norris was not the quickest at the end of the race, and neither was he second quickest at the end of the race. So, take everything that happens today with a pinch of salt. But, of course, it is the most accurate prediction of what's going to happen on the race. So, I guess also don't take it with a pinch of salt. Just do what you want, really. And be prepared to be surprised tomorrow. Alonso comes across the line, 8th place for him, nicely done, goes ahead of his teammate Lance Stroll by a couple of fractions of a second. And we don't actually know what the real race pace is going to be. If it starts raining, on Sunday, all of the real race pace will be masked by the fact that it's raining, and the drivers will be making up for all of the race pace. The Red Bull could be super slow in the race, but if Max Verstappen is pulling off another an absolute domination of a performance, like he did in Brazil, then we're never going to know, is the Red Bull quick, is the Red Bull slow? All we're going to see is the driver's pace. So that's another thing to take into account. We've got Jack Doohan here currently on a quick lap. A lot of traffic as he makes his way through the final sector. But let's wait and see what he can do. And as he comes across the line now, currently in 15th, up into 12th. Unfortunately, a bit of a slow final sector there. I suspect that's partly due to the traffic. How long do you think RB will give Lawson to get up to speed? Well, the thing is, they'll give Lawson a fair amount of time because who have they really got to replace Lawson? Let's think about that one. I don't know. I don't know who their replacement is going to be, unless Isaac Hadjar is super duper promising and it goes quicker than Tsunoda by like 0.2 of a second immediately. Then they don't have any immediate replacement to Lawson. So I guess they'll give him a full season. But it's Red Bull, so you never really know what's going to happen. It could be Yuki, but the thing is, the reason why Yuki Tsunoda isn't already at the Red Bull team is because there's a bit of politics within Red Bull and Honda and their association, because Yuki Tsunoda is a Honda driver, and because Honda supply engines to Red Bull, that's the reason he's currently at the RB team, right? So the thing is, in 2026, Honda are no longer making engines for Red Bull, and they basically said, we're no longer making engines for you guys, we're going to go net zero, and we're not going to be doing any sort of this internal combustion engine stuff. However, they went back on that decision, and they said, oh, we're going to make engines with you, Aston Martin, instead. I suspect because Lawrence Stroll said, we're going to pay you a bunch of money. But either way, Honda has essentially sort of backstabbed Red Bull and said, oh, we're not going to make engines for you. We're going to make them for Aston Martin instead. And because of that, for the last year of the Red Bull partnership, I don't see the Red Bull Honda partnership. I don't see Yuki Tsunoda getting promoted up into the main team. Oh, we've got a yellow flag. Who's that? George Russell stopped at turn number 4. It's a little bit of a tricky corner there as you get onto the power and you exit the curb, and George Russell into the barriers, front wing damaged with 30 seconds left on the clock now. That is going to be the end of the session. George Russell manages to reverse the car out of the barriers, so no red flag there. But has he managed to keep his front wing intact? It looks like his front wing is fairly intact. No way. George Russell has got away completely unscathed. Not a single bit of damage to his car. I think he slammed on the brakes as soon as he possibly could and managed to stop just before he hit the wall. His front wing looks perfectly fine. Oh, wow, that is fantastic. Right, so let's look at this replay here then for George Russell. We are at the end of the session, but George Russell now making his way towards turn number 3, hits that apex very nicely. Now gets back onto the power, clips the grass on the entry, and stops around about 30 centimeters away from the barrier. Gets very lucky with that one. But yeah, Russell clipped the grass on the entry, and then went 30 centimeters away from the barriers. Very, very lucky indeed. All right, thank you everyone for tuning in. It has been a pleasure commentating to you guys for Free Practice 1. Free Practice 2 will be taking place in 2.5 hours' time. The stream will start in 2 hours' time. So I'm just going to end the stream now, take you over to the Free Practice 2 stream. If you could hit the like button on the Free Practice 2 stream, that hugely helps out the channel. Basically, it boosts the channel like 10 times in the YouTube algorithm, and that would really mean a lot, given that it's the start of the season. It's going to be hopefully the best season that the channel has ever had. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I will see you guys in 2 hours' time for Free Practice 2, and be sure to hit the like button. We'll see you then. Thank you very, very much.